Okay, so we're going to be making a heart today. Supplies that you'll need is number 4 chenille yarn, a stitch marker, a tapestry needle, and a crochet hook, and some scissors. So to start, we're going to make a magic circle. So you're going to lay your yarn across your fingers like this and make an X like this. Put your thumb over the X, wrap around the top, insert your hook underneath the first strand and grab the second, pull through. You're going to twist like this, and you're going to pinch and hold right here and take that off your fingers, and we're going to tighten up the circle a little bit. And then you're going to take your working yarn in your hand and hold that circle open and make a chain. This does not count as a stitch. We're going to tighten that up a little bit. Now we're going to make 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, oops, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have our 6 single crochet. So now we're going to close our magic circle. You're just going to hold right here and pull gently. Sometimes it sticks a little bit. Gentle but firm. Don't break your yarn. All right, now we're going to start our next row. This is our first row. This is our starting row. So we're going to insert your hook into the first stitch of the next one, the first stitch you made. We're going to do that and make 2 single crochet. This is called an increase, and we're going to increase all the way around. You may want to use a stitch marker to mark the first stitch of your round. So we just made 2 stitches, so we're going to put this here in that first stitch we made, just to mark the beginning of the round so you don't lose count. So we have 2, increase number 2, increase number 3, increase number 4, increase number 5, get that out of the way, and increase number 6. So at this point you should have 12 stitches all the way around. So our next row, we're going to do 1 increase for 6 times. So we'll do 1 stitch, put our stitch marker back in, increase, number 2, increase in the next stitch, number 3, increase, number 4, increase, number 5, increase, number 6, and increase. Okay, you should have 18 stitches now. So for our next row, we're going to do 5 single crochet and 1 increase 3 times. So we'll do 1, put your stitch marker in, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase. Now our second set of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, and our third set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. There we go. All right, so now for the next round, we're going to start with an increase and then single crochet all the way around. Before we start this row, you should have 21 stitches. So we'll start here with an increase. So we'll do 1, put our stitch marker in, 2, so that's our increase, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. And that finishes the first hump of our heart. So at this point, we're going to take our yarn and cut a nice long tail, about 20 centimeters or so. Yeah, that looks good. So you'll have a nice long tail. Do not pull this loop through. Leave that as a loop. You might want to loosen it just a little bit so it doesn't come out. But you've got first shell with a nice long tail for sewing, and we're going to set this aside. We're going to make another one now. So again, we'll start with our magic circle, make your X, pinch, flip under the first loop, grab your second, twist, secure, tighten a little bit, take your working yarn and make a stitch, tighten that a little, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Close your loop. Hold nice and tight. And then we're going to repeat the same pattern all the way around. So next, in the first stitch you made, you'll do an increase, 1, second increase, third increase, fourth increase, fifth increase, oops, sixth increase. Now we have 12 stitches. I stopped using a stitch marker mainly because I just don't really use stitch markers. I prefer to count, but if you're new to this, I recommend using a stitch marker just so you don't lose count. So now we're going to do our next row, which is 1 increase in the next stitch, number 2 increase in the next stitch, number 3 increase in the next stitch, number 4 increase in the next stitch, number 5, increase, and number 6, increase. So now we have 18. So now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, looks like I'm running out of yarn, so I'm going to join my new yarn. You just take your ball, pull from the center, hope for the best. So you don't gut your yarn. There we go. And I just like to tie a knot. There's a lot of ways to join yarn without tying a knot. They're complicated and tend not to work very well with chenille yarn because it likes to fall apart on you. So you're just going to want to tie a little double knot, and that's fine. And I'll show you how to kind of hide the knot when we get around, oops, to the side. Just tie that nice and tight. Okay, and then we're going to snip our ends off. Okay, now we're ready to keep going. I lost track. This is why you use stitch markers. We're on our third set of 3. So we're going to go our third set of 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, increase. I'm going to count my stitches here just to make sure I did that right. Doesn't look like it, so we're going to just count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yes, so we're on our third set of 5 now. Sorry. 1, 2. We're going to see how this knot is here. We're going to just kind of pull that through and keep that tucked under that stitch so that you don't see it on the front. So that's 1, 2, 3. See how this is on the back now? 4, 5, increase. And now we have 21 stitches in this row. So we're going to do an increase. So that's 2 stitches, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. And that finishes our second hump. So we're not going to cut this one. We're going to keep that working yarn attached, and we're going to go back to our first hump. Take this off. You have your loop, so you're going to put your loop on your hook and pull that tight. And you're going to take your working yarn and draw that through both loops and tighten those down real good. You can kind of pull up on that loop a little bit to tighten that. Tighten there. You want to make sure this is nice and tight because this does not count as a stitch, so you don't want to actually accidentally confuse that. And then you're going to take this long cut piece of yarn that you had and tuck it in the front so that's out of the way. And then we're going to do 17 stitches in each, like 17 single crochet, one in each stitch. And so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we have 17 stitches, and you should have 5, tuck that in there, we don't need that. You should have 5 stitches left in this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to skip those. We're going to go to our second half. This is our joining stitch, so this doesn't count. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Insert your hook in that 6th stitch, and we'll continue and make 17 more stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That completes the row. So you should have 34 stitches at this point. So again, this little guy does not count as a stitch. Kind of see how we have this little piece here. So this is our first stitch here. So we're going to go here, 1, and we're going to single crochet all the way around for 34 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You may be tempted to skip this stitch because it's where we joined. This counts as a stitch. So you continue here, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. And you can see here, this is our join stitch and our first stitch. Here's our first stitch of our next row. You can see how there's this gap here, and if you ever lose count or forget to put your stitch marker in, you can tell where your first stitch is by following this diagonal line up, and that'll continue upward as we continue. So now we're going to do a second row of 34 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. All right, we are halfway there. Again, you can see this is the beginning of our row. This is our first stitch because you can see here's our join, 1, 1, 1, first stitch. So then we're going to start our decrease rows. So we're going to go 6 stitches, 1 decrease, 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, 6 stitches. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now our next stitch is a decrease, so you'll go pull the loop through the next stitch, go into the next stitch, pull another loop through, and draw through both. That's 1 decrease, 1 single crochet, and another decrease, pull through, decrease, and then 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to do the same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, decrease, single crochet, decrease, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that completes the row. We're going to continue to do the same thing, decreasing the number of stitches between each decrease. So we'll go 5, decrease, 1, decrease, 5, and then 4, decrease, 1, decrease, 4, etc., so on, which I'll continue to show you. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should have 26 stitches at this point. So now we're going to go down to 4. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll do 3. 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, 2, 3, and again 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we're going to drop down to 2 now. 1, 2, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, 2, and again 1, 2, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, 2. Now we'll do 1. 1, decrease, 1, decrease, 1, and again 1, decrease, 1, decrease, 1. Okay, now we're on our last row, so we're going to decrease all the way around. So you'll do 1, first decrease, second decrease, third decrease, fourth decrease, and fifth decrease. All right, so you should have 5 stitches left at the very end. This is what your heart will look like. I'm going to cut a little tail, doesn't need to be too long, just long enough to fit through your tapestry needle. We're going to thread this. Maybe. There we go. So thread that. And then in the front loop only of your stitches, so we're going to go up through the middle of each stitch around and pull it a little tight each time you do it. 2, 3, 4, and this is why you need your yarn to be a little bit long, 5. So you got 5, you did it all the way around, and now you just pull tight to close that hole. And you'll take your needle and just kind of shove it in through that top point and stick it up through the middle of the heart and pull through like this. And we're going to take our scissors and just kind of cut the excess length off of some of these so they're not popping out everywhere. Make sure you don't cut this one. This one is very important because now we're going to prepare to close the heart. So you're going to take this long string that you left, thread your tapestry needle, and again we're going to go in the front loop only in each stitch all the way around. So we're going to start here. So here's our string. We're going to start in this first stitch here, go through the middle, and then here we're going to go up through the middle, and again all the way around. Do not tighten this as you go. You want to leave the hole nice and open so we can stuff it and get the voice box in. Make sure you get this middle part, otherwise there'll be a gap. Through the middle. Cut this yarn just a little short, but it should be fine. There. Once you get all the way around, you see this kind of loop that we started with. We're just going to tuck this right through like so and pull that out and tighten. At this point, you'll stuff your heart and add your voice box. You may need to add some more stuffing after you do so. And then to close the heart, you take this string and secure right here, and we're just going to pull that out and tighten that closed. Don't cut the string. Do not cut the string. But that will close our heart, and you can reopen by gently pulling that apart from the side a little bit. You can see this yarn is sliding back through, and then we're going to go this way and pull a little bit. And you'll have a little hole here, so now you can kind of stick your fingers in there and just work this hole back open so that you can take out the voice box and change batteries. You can take a minute to work it open, just be gentle. It will open eventually. To help a little bit, you can kind of come down to this point and see how we've got our loop here. You can kind of pull that back through. Where is it? It's this one. And kind of pull that back through to get our heart open. Again, it takes a minute to reopen. That's why we want to leave this open when we finish this heart and put the voice box in. That way it's a little easier for our nurses to just take the voice box out, stick it back in, and then they can close it. And then if the family does need to reopen it to change the batteries, they're not doing it all the time. It should only be every couple of months or so if they need to. It may even last longer than that. And we got our string here. You can cut this a little bit shorter. I would not recommend cutting shorter than this, just because we don't want this to slip back through. But there you have it. We've got our heart. Very good. Good job.